Hello, everyone. Uh, First of all, thanks for inviting myself as a representative of Telesat to this important event. My name is Neri. I'm Director of International Coordination for Telesat. And in this presentation, I will show you and I will explain the Telesat LEO project that the company has decided to embark on since a few years and why the company has decided to do so. So I will do so by sharing, by using a PowerPoint presentation, so a few slides. And I will, first of all, before entering into the details of the Telesat LEO project, let me introduce the company. You may know that Telesat is an established satellite operator, headquartered in Canada, and operating nowadays around 16 geostationary satellites to provide telecommunication services around the globe. So, being an experienced geostationary operator, why Telesat decided to invest in a non-geostationary LEO constellation? So, what we noticed at Telesat a few years ago is that the market, the connectivity market, is served by two main technologies. One technology is about a terrestrial backhaul solution represented by fiber and microwave, which provides a very high quality service measured in terms of speed and latency, but it is available only in limited parts of the planet, especially where in those parts of the planet where there is more population. On the other hand, there is already today a large number of providers of satellite connectivity, but the satellites used for providing connectivity, traditional satellite connectivity, are geostationary satellites. So these satellites provide a service which is available more or less globally, excluding for obvious technical reasons the poles. But this satellite connectivity provides a low quality of service, still measured by these speed and latency metrics. So what we decided is to address that connectivity white space that we identified in being that demand of that part of the population that it is not located in very populated area, but still requires a high quality service with performance comparable to fiber and microwave links. So what we decided to do is to invest in the definition and the design of a low Earth orbit constellation. So Telesat will deploy very soon. I will come to the details of the timing later, but we'll deploy very soon a constellation of around 300 satellites deployed in low Earth orbit and organized in two sub-constellations. One sub-constellation is a polar sub-constellation, so the satellites will be rotating around the Earth deployed in polar orbit, and the other part of the constellation will be composed of satellites operating in an inclined orbit. Our constellation will use 4 GHz of K-band spectrum. This spectrum will be used for both feeder links and user links. And our satellites will be quite complex and quite advanced. For example, one of the features that our satellites will have is to have optical inter-satellite links, which is a feature that not all constellations have, and which allows a better resiliency of the network and allows, compared to a similar technical design, to limit the number of gateway earth stations that we need to install around the globe to provide global connectivity. So basically, the service that we plan to offer to our customers is a layer 2 connectivity service. So as it is explained on this slide, the customer will have a user terminal enabled to communicate with our constellation, which will communicate with one or more satellites as it need be. And then these satellites will route through a direct RF connection or through different intersatellite links, will route the traffic through to a landing station operated by Telesat. This landing station will be connected to a point of presence, and then hence the traffic that we receive from the customer will be delivered either to a private network or to the internet, and then vice versa. Once that we need to receive the traffic and we need to deliver the traffic back to the original customer, we will follow a similar path. So basically, the kind of customers that we plan to address go from enterprise or to providers of community connectivity or to providers of mobile connectivity. For example, one class of target customers that we plan to satisfy are wireless and 5G or 6G, hopefully network operators that need to deploy the service in rural areas or in areas which are not well served by other terrestrial solutions, and then need a reliable backhaul solution in order to connect their customers to their networks. So basically, what we can say is that our Telesat LEO solution will be basically an Ethernet layer 2 service in the sky that will allow the traffic to go from the users to the customer core network and vice versa. This slide simply states a few probably obvious characteristics of the service that Telesat LEO will offer. First of all, since we want to address the connectivity white space that I spoke about in the beginning, our service will be characterized by a high throughput. In fact, we want our service to have a quality of service comparable to the one achieved by fiber or microwave connectivity. It will need to have a cost lower than the traditional satellite connection. So in order to compete in the same market as fiber and microwave, for example. Another important point is that the latency offered by the Telesat LEO constellation will be quite low, and much lower for obvious reasons than the latency offered by geostationary satellites, just because the LEO satellites are closer to the Earth, and hence the latency that can be offered is simply much lower. Another important point is that since our satellites are quite complex in their design, they will be able to have steerable and shapeable spot beams that will be able to offer the service only where it is needed, hence not using or wasting spectrum resources in a way which is not desirable. And our capacity will be flexible and focused in order to meet the demand wherever it is. Another market segment that we want to address is the mobility segment. So our Telesat LEO will offer connectivity to aircraft and ships, for example, and this shows the different kind of user terminals that we plan to make available. Of course, depending on the type of terminal and its technical characteristics, the throughput achievable through that terminal varies. So we plan to offer a service that varies from a few megabits per second of throughput up to multiple gigabits per second, depending on the kind of customer that we need to satisfy. With respect to the launch timeline, we will start deploying our satellites in 2022, starting from the PolarStar constellation, so that we will be able to provide service in those areas of the Earth that are north of 55 degrees latitude and south of 55 degrees south latitude. Then in 2023, we will complete the deployment of our constellation by deploying also the inclined satellites, so that we will be able to offer a full global service. One important thing I want to talk about is that in 2018, we launched a phase 1 LEO satellite, let's say a demonstration satellite that allowed us to validate the design of our constellation. We carried out several tests with this satellite. One of those was with Vodafone, and it was carried out in the United Kingdom. Thanks to this test, we provided for the first time in history, I believe, a 5G backhaul solution using a LEO satellite operating in K-band. And the performance that this link offered was really astonishing. Imagine that we achieved a round-trip latency in the network between 20 and 40 milliseconds, and we ran different kinds of applications, including the delivery of high-quality video. So, thanks to this test, we demonstrated that the backhaul connectivity for 5G, or hopefully in the future for 6G, is definitely an application which is definitely possible using Telesat LEO. We also ran with our other customers and partners. We carried out many other different tests ranging from terrestrial applications, government applications, but also aeronautical and maritime applications. And I must say that every time that we carry out a test, we experience a performance of the link which is not even imaginable and exceeds expectations. So this was a brief introduction and description of the Telesat LEO project. These are my contact details. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any question, and I will be happy to answer them as it is needed. Thank you very much.